are tougher than they think. Like they really are. Just like I can do it. I can.
I'll see her up on a chair, reaching, getting up into the top cupboards and clambering back down again. I mean, that's my mom. Joan did not achieve her incredible results by walking.
My doctor had advised me that I had to change my medication to getting more. And I just flatly told her, I says, I don't want more. I want off.
It's important, especially post-surgery, depression is a real thing, especially if you've been active. And if you've got chronic injury, it's such a depressant. And we need to normalize talking about that and what are the options for people, especially if they're older, to get past that and not live with that kind of pain. Like, what can you do?
I feel that if I have pain or discomfort, I call it discomfort. It's not real pain because pain usually is debilitating, right? You're going to have discomfort. It's inevitable. I guess I just learned to live with that. And the results have been great.
She has inspired millions. I've walked on the beach, I've walked in cities with her, and we've literally had people of all ages, younger, older, come up shouting, Joan, you've changed my life. You've changed my mother's life.
It is humbling. So many people rely on you, and you want to give the right message because it can be done.
Who's showing up and making the decisions and calling the shots in your life? Because only you can save yourself, right?
Welcome. We're Amanda and Gabriella, mother and daughter, and founders of Movement Living. We're on a mission to help women live well and age better.
This is the Movement Living podcast. We interview fascinating people who will inspire you to be confident in your skin as you age and share practical tools to make it happen.
Join the thousands of women who receive our free wellness newsletter at movementliving.com. We curate the best of wellness, bringing you fresh ideas and practical tips every Monday morning. Today, we're speaking with the incredible Joan MacDonald, known to millions online as Train with Joan, and her daughter, fitness coach and expert Michelle MacDonald. At 70, Joan decided to transform her health and life. Now at 78, she's stronger than ever.
Joan's story is proof that it's never too late to take control of your health. And it's inspired me to finally start lifting those heavier weights.
Absolutely. Joan and Michelle are changing the conversation around aging, strength, and self-belief. Michelle and Joan, it is so wonderful to have you both here on the Movement Living podcast. We're so grateful for your time, and we can't wait to hear more of your story and get into your advice and tips for some of our community.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us. You're doing amazing things for people. And I think the more of us getting started on our health journey, the better.
And the sooner.
And sooner. Amen.
Amen. Well, before we get into some of the questions that we have, we wanted to just start by asking both of you, what do you love about the age you are right now?
The fact that I can do what I want to do pretty much, even with the surgeries, it's been very good. Yeah, I just love it.
I've always loved getting older. I remember when I was a kid, Mom would always tell me, stop wishing to get older. But I've always loved getting older. I still love it. And I think my message has stayed the same. Your habits will determine whether your body is a temple or a prison. So, people say, oh, there's so much to do. It's so hard. And my response is always, you got to choose your hard, right? A big part of getting older is understanding that ultimately you have to be the parent of yourself. No one's going to save you. You've got to do it. And so then how you frame hard and how you show up during the hard parts is really going to determine your relationship with yourself. Are you really there for yourself and loving yourself? And so the journey of getting older is falling more in love with taking care of yourself.
I haven't heard it put that way. And it's so many points of wisdom in there that just chew over because it's all very, very true and very strong. And so the two of you as a relationship. We'll get into that a little bit more, but thanks. That was a great summary. Yeah.
So right off the top, Joan, you said start sooner. But I'd love to hear from you, what was that final tipping point, or what was the journey like to your decision to actually start a serious fitness journey when you did at 70?
I think the kicker was when my daughter was moving away, like far away to Mexico. My doctor had advised me that I had to change my medication to getting more. And I just flatly told her, I says, I don't want more. I want off. So when Michelle was there visiting before she left for Mexico, she found out that I was on blood pressure medication. I thought she knew, but I guess I didn't tell her. I was probably thinking it, but I didn't actually say it. And she just laid it down on the line. We had a talk, and it was a very hard talk, but I knew that for me to get past where I was, I needed her help. And I saw what she did with other people, and I jumped in, even though afterwards I thought about it and going, holy jumping, what have I done? Because when you're way that far away and you're only using what did I have? I had an iPad, I believe, at that time. That's about it. And
It's a lot.
it's a lot. I had
But
to,
that was the turning point, really. It
Yeah.
was that critical moment of we were leaving. I wasn't going to really see her. Um, her own mother was in a nursing home and declining very rapidly. So well, we both had first row seats into what healthcare looks like when your health declines and you're older, and and you're relying on like nurses and whatnot to take care of you. Your family can't take care of you anymore. And then her doctor was increasing her medication because her labs weren't good, right? I mean, that's why. And then I offered her a choice. So that rock bottom moment.
yeah.
I can so relate to that because I watched my mother not be able to do that. She had similar issues, and bad knee arthritis, did not understand the value of movement, and ended up in a wheelchair and then just going down from there. And I just saw the same thing. I just watched it all unfold, and I supported it, but the system will not take care of you. It just won't, and it's going to be getting even more that way. So a lot of what drives me, and I've been working out with a trainer for a long time, but I haven't yet delved into the heavy weights like you have, and I really want to ask about that more because I'm starting that. But you know, what motivates me so much is that need to be independent. And same thing with Amanda. She has been in movement and sports all her life, and she was such a great influence on me, especially in yoga. I can very much understand that turning point, and knowing that you don't have a lot of options. You may as well choose to stay independent. And I think for me, independence is the key.
Yeah, I think it's really common to hear from different women in our community that they sort of watched their mothers age and just decline, and it it sort of felt like, oh, that's how you age, or that's inevitable, until they realized, whoa, maybe it's not inevitable. And so I think, I mean, what an important message. And I just think it has to be repeated in as many different ways as possible, as many times as it takes for someone to realize I can actually make a difference in what my
So much agency. Yeah. And that's been my mission since I started my personal fitness journey in 2010 at the age of 40. When I started coaching in 2012, I was going to the Olympia and the Arnold's representing, supplement companies and just seeing the ageism. So it's shifted. But back in 2010, there was an incredible amount of ageism and 40 was old. Like now we're seeing a big shift, but I was like the only 40-year-old at the Olympia, right? And it was surrounded by 20-year-olds and being told that there was no market for the older female. And when I went to gyms and I saw how women my age and older were being treated by trainers, like they were fragile, there was no effort, there was no progression amongst the older gals. It was like, well, you're old, right? Like, what do you want? You're just trying to, you know, not get overweight maybe. And so I was really driven to offer something different. And I really believe in the power of the female body. The women give birth, we live longer, statistically. But I do think that culturally in the West, we haven't been served. And it's a lot of it, it's our fault. We perpetuate it with the things that we desire, how we talk to other women, how we denigrate other women. Right? We've got to shift that ourselves. Can't externalize the blame. We got to own it and shift it. But we haven't been served, right? And so now those of us that are leading from the front, have got to purposely and intentionally and together shift that narrative and offer solutions and different role models for aging in an empowered way with agency, right?
You are really giving me a lot of hope and inspiration. I'm 72. I've been, as I said, training for a long time. It's not that I don't see fitness as important, but now I want to get a lot stronger because this is it. This is, I want to push, but I know, and we're learning all this wonderful science. And that's the other great part about being older at this time of, history. But um, I know that it's different for women to gain muscle mass, to, you know, take on that strength training and both from the doing it, but also the recovery side. So this is where I'm dying to ask you a few questions about it because I know you've been through, we all have aches and pains and you've had some serious surgery recently. So, um, incorporating that training for strength, which is a lot of work with the recovery and the injuries. How do you do it? How do you manage that?
I've been thinking about this. It's just that, like, I listen to what I'm told.
That's always good.
That's good. It's funny. It sounds obvious when you say it out loud, but how often do we not just do what we know is the right thing to do?
Well, I had a lot of weight and it was hard, very hard at the beginning. And I know for recovery or when you're feeling achy, I think that was one of the questions that you wanted to find out. Okay, what do you do? Well, a warming up before you exercise is key, and cooling down afterwards. And if you have a little more ache and pain, I like the Epsom salt bath, hot bath. It soaks into your body. It gets rid of the oh, what do you call that?
Lactic acid buildup?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
And I always felt even if I was achy the next day,
Yeah.
I still had to do that exercise. So I would do it, and before you're finished, you don't have those aches and pains. So it's just like you can't be afraid of hurting all the time. Like it's going to go away eventually. So just work through it. As long as you don't have actual pain where you're disabled, then do what you want to do. Get it
I'd
done.
have to interject though and say that we also spread out training. And so this is something that I see a lot with
Mm.
women in the gym, more so than men, is they're not training appropriately. So your audience is listening. It's really important to space out sufficient time probably 48 hours between training the same body part. So
Yeah.
if you're training legs on Monday, don't train legs again until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Versus what we often see is circuit training. Gals go to the gym, they do a circuit of machines, and they're just doing all the body parts every single day. And that's not how you build muscle. You build muscle when you recover from training, and the training has to cause enough stress that your body is forced to adapt. And then, of course, you have to be in the presence of sufficient nutrition, particularly your amino acids that create protein tissue.
It is very complex and very scientific. And what you learn, and what I learned right away, is the first couple of times that I did increase some weights and was using more machine or, free weights. Yeah, the next day I was, oh my God, I was so uncomfortable. And I thought, this isn't normal. I thought I was in shape. But what you're saying is exactly right, which is give yourself some time, use the Epsom salts, maybe the Theragun. I mean, there are actual things you can do that work, which is like
Foam
my,
rolling,
yeah,
myofascial release with a little squash ball or a massage ball. The Theragun or variations of it are amazing.
yeah.
We've been using it. I love it. Heating pad as well. That is absolutely fantastic. Massage, if you
Oh,
can
yeah.
afford it, that can be a beautiful thing to do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do get my massages. I used to get my massages regular every week. Yeah.
But you do have to stress the body. So I would definitely want that to be a very important takeaway for people. Joan did not achieve her incredible results by walking. She did not. She went to the gym and she followed the principles of progressive overload, which means every time she trained, she would increase the stress somehow on the body, whether that was lifting a little more weight, doing a little bit more volume, improving her range of motion or form, or trying a more advanced version of the exercise. So she was always progressing. And that stress is key to create muscle tissue. You can't go to the gym and do the same thing over and over again and expect to build muscle. It just doesn't happen like that.
It's such a good point, and you speak about it so clearly, Michelle. I'm like, I want to capture the way that you're describing this because it's so clear. And I think when I think about some of the women in our community that like going to the gym or if they're working out at home, doing almost getting stuck in a bit of a rut or not knowing like they have that same routine they've been doing for years and they think, okay, I'm getting my, workout in. And of course, any movement is positive. We want to be moving the body, but if you want to build strength, it's gonna be a little bit painful because, like you said, you actually have to stress the body. And I think we're so conditioned to think that pain is bad that if we were to push ourselves a little bit and wake up the next day and be in pain, we think, oh, I've done something wrong. So, like, how could a woman tell the difference between good pain and bad pain?
I don't know. It's just that I feel that if I have pain or discomfort, I call it discomfort because it's not
It's a great word.
it's not real pain because pain usually is debilitating, right?
Yeah.
So discomfort, you're going to have discomfort. It's inevitable. I guess I just learned to live with that. And the results have been great.
I think I'd interject and from I'm a CSCS, a strength and conditioning coach, and I've been doing this for a long time, and 10 years in yoga, advanced yoga teaching as well. And number one, if you're undertrained, even from a very minimal workout, one, you're going to be sore because you're undertrained, and just a little bit of stimulus is going to create impact. So just understand that you're probably going to be uncomfortable the next day, right? Your muscles are going to be complaining because you woke them up. They've been in bed. They're like, I've checked out for the rest of your life, right? And now you're saying, no, 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 I need you to get to work again. So they're going to be complaining. But number two, because you're undertrained, it's not going to take too much in the beginning. So you're in this beautiful place called newbie gains, where a little bit of stress, it will be uncomfortable, but you're going to get some great results and you'll be able to gain muscle quite quickly. And we see this with our new gals versus somebody who's very seasoned. It's going to take more to get their body to keep adapting. So that's the one thing. And then the second piece is what I say to my clients is if you can go to the gym and you're sore and it doesn't impact your ability to progressively overload, right? Do more weight, do more reps, do more sets, shorten the rest period if that's an option, somehow do more work. If the soreness doesn't prevent you from doing that, you get to the gym, you do your mobility, your dynamic warm-ups, you start your first kind of warm-up sets, you start getting into it, you're like, oh, I thought I was going to have a poopy workout, but I feel great actually, and you put more weight on or whatever, you have a great workout. Well, then that's fine. You're good to go. And you're going to learn over time, oh, that's a normal soreness, and it doesn't mean I can't get a great workout in. You'll also learn, oh, right? I wasn't able to do the work that I thought I was going to be able to do. I had to take the weight down because I just was failing. I couldn't quite do the thing, the leg press or whatever it is that you were doing. And then you learn, you're like, oh, okay, so that was too much soreness for me. And then maybe you look like, oh, I did that thing she said not to do. I trained legs, one day after the other because I was flying the next day and I had to squish things together. So you learn like that. And then there's acute pain, right? Like you're doing a leg press and you feel a sharp twinge in your knee. It's usually going to be like a joint, although sometimes, especially as we get older and our estrogen drops, we get a little bit drier. We lose some hydration in our connective tissue. You might get a tug like at your hamstring or maybe your piriformis, like one of your glute, one of your booty muscles. You might get a tug there. So that would be an indication, oh, did I warm up enough? Was I paying attention to my form? Was I pressing through the flats of my feet? Was my knee tracking over my foot or was it caving in or something like that? So that sharp pain is an indication just to do a quick systems check, right? Like, did you get enough sleep? All that sort of thing. And then a form check. Am I doing things correctly? Did I warm up properly? And then see how you feel that night or in the morning. You might need to take a couple of days off training that body part. If you're smart and you catch yourself fast and don't just push through it, that should probably be enough, right? And if you do push through it and the next day you're like, oh my gosh, I can't pick my socks up off the floor, you hurt your back, then please, especially as we get older, go see somebody. Have somebody in your back pocket that you trust, a really good sports physio that is very confident with older women that want to build muscle. So they're not going to tell you don't do anything. They're going to say, "Oh, let's work with you so you can get back into the gym again." Don't delay that stuff because as we get older, we have to be more precise in our self-care.
So you're talking about proper hydration, which means, stay hydrated in your joints, proper warm up, movement, rest, make sure you have gotten the rest. It's all very difficult too at this age. I mean, my God, but also technique. And let's talk about that because what you said, that's why even at the very beginning, or maybe through Joan's program, I know she's got a program that teaches you proper technique for this stuff, which is something else I learned, along the way. And that's why I always had a trainer was just, I don't know if I'm doing this right and I don't want to get injured. I mean, there's two roads. One is pain with no gain, and then there's the pain and the gain. So you just make your choices. But how important those are other aspects are will impact your training. And I'm sure, Joan, you completely agree. It wasn't just, oh, let me go work out.
It wasn't. No, it takes a lot. Michelle's got so many things that you should be doing to get the whole package working.
Yeah.
And nutrition, hydration, sleep, they all have an impact on how everything turns out.
Yeah.
So I've changed my life in the respect that I do go to bed pretty much the same time every night, get up pretty much the same time, do my workouts. I try to get them done in the morning, that type of thing. And it's a routine, it's a habit that you have. And that when you do it so many times, it is a habit. It just becomes, and you can make that habit stronger by building on it.
I think with regards to training too, I always like to empower women, right? We are so blessed. We live in an era with technology, smartphones, different gadgets to attach your smartphone to, some gym equipment, or use a tripod if you're able to. So you can take videos of yourself, right? And so whether you're using YouTube, or you're working with an app like my mother's app, or you're working with an online coach, you actually can really learn from observing these videos how to do things right, how not to do them. Watch your own videos and start to put two and two together and self-analyze. And that's ultimate freedom, because you want to learn what does it feel like when I'm doing things with great form, and you know learn the basics, a squat movement pattern. Well, what does it feel like? How do my glutes feel? How do my legs feel when I'm doing a proper squat? And then that's the leg press, it's a body weight squat, a goblet squat, it's a split squat. It all transfers across. Pressing motions, same thing. Pulling motions, same thing. So ultimately, you want to be empowered to know, how does it feel when I'm doing it right? Be able to correct yourself when you're doing it wrong. Like, oh, I felt like I didn't do that quite right. And I would want anyone listening to understand, I think it's really great to have a really good, competent trainer, not anybody trainer, especially if you're an older female. Like I said, there's still that higher risk that they're not really going to be coaching you properly. They're not really going to believe in your true potential. But don't take your hand off the steering wheel. Ask questions, and ultimately, you want to know, what does it feel like to do things the right way.
Such a great perspective. And I love how you're pointing out that, hey, not everyone, there is a lot of ageism still. And you can't just go to anyone, whether it's a physio, whether it's a trainer. Like, you need to really find someone that believes in your potential and isn't just going to tell you, hey, why don't you do some walking,
Believes in your potential and has the skill set to train you appropriately.
It's funny because I have a wonderful trainer, but I had to push him. I had to say, "Hey, I want to start going."
There you go.
I did. Isn't that funny? I didn't realize I would have to do that. He didn't want me to be hurt. He's really good. I mean, we talk, anatomy all the time and everything. And I just went, okay, I need to start because I know what the science says. And if I don't start now getting stronger, all this training isn't going to get me anywhere. So anyway, but back to the training around the issues, because I think about that a lot. I had a bad knee accident a long time ago, all sorts of stuff. And I know you just had shoulder surgery.
What can I do now? I could not raise my arms laterally, like just the one arm could go. And now I can raise it right up. And this is, I'm in the 6th week of recovery. So, and right now I have to have help, like from the physio. She doesn't want me trying to do it on my own to get it up
Yeah.
on its own. But I can wash my hair now with two hands, not
Which
one.
is important, right? Imagine,
Yeah.
and here's a fitness icon, but at a place, because of the joint degeneration, not able to wash her own hair. And this is the reality for so many older people, whether it's not being able to sit down on a chair and stand back up again, or not being able to lift your groceries, out of a car and up onto a counter. Like,
It means
this
a
is
lot.
this is the real crux of what we're trying to resolve, right? Both with Mom's app and probably what you guys are doing with your platform, right? Maintaining your agency. But training, you want to talk a little bit about training, what your training's been like with the shoulder surgery?
Oh, yeah, the exercises I'm doing?
Yeah, just a little bit. Like so she went training. I had you in the gym at the first week. So
Not so much using this arm
not at all.
at all, but doing the lower body parts. So we would alternate those, like the
And
exercises,
very light, right?
the
Very
lighter
light.
weight. Yeah.
But it's important, especially post-surgery, depression is a real thing, especially if you've been active. And if you've got chronic injury, it's such a depressant, right? I mean, you see your window of opportunity closing, you've got that constant pain feedback. And we need to normalize talking about that and what are the options for people, especially if they're older, to get past that and not live with that kind of pain. Like, what can you do? I think, another important message is can we get your health to a place where you could get surgery and expect really robust outcomes. So, we were making sure that Mom was going into her surgery at her absolute healthiest, great habits. She was doing prehab kind of work. And then she worked with a top surgeon and made sure that she has been doing all of her post-surgery rehab work diligently. And then I
And I'm
had her,
surprising them.
yeah.
I'm not sure what the surgery was. Was it a replacement? Was it a repair?
Reverse shoulder replacement.
Oh,
So what they do is they actually attach a ball, a prosthesis, into the shoulder, and the deltoid muscles, not the rotator cuff muscles, but the deltoid muscles are the main movers of the arm. And that's a surgery that is recommended when there's been so much damage to the joint and to the rotator cuff muscles that the option is the best outcome is going to be with this reverse shoulder surgery.
It's great if you can read up on it. It's amazing what they can do. And the
well,
surgery
I
I
haven't
had.
heard of that. Yeah.
So, but she was in the gym doing light workouts within the first week. She was walking within a couple of days, making sure she was weaned off her painkillers quite early, like I think 24 hours
24 hours
before
is about
weaning
it.
yourself off, because
Like
they do dull the mind.
I really don't like taking any kind of pills. It's bad enough taking supplements because you have to. It's not in your food so much. But yeah, getting off any kind of pain pills
And
because
and and rehab therapy has really shifted, and it's not really new. It's probably shifted in the last 15 to 20 years that motion is lotion. So rather than like not moving, we now know that movement is actually better for the healing process, particularly your lymphatic system, which is going to be draining and helping clear all the byproducts of the injury, of the surgery, of the repair process. So movement is very helpful for that. So I had her in the gym doing light lower body with machines. So she's just moving a pin, not straining herself. So we would do a lot of isometric holds, slow eccentrics, which is, you can think of like the lowering phase of the exercise. So she's getting that stimulus. She's ticking off that box of going to the gym and having that regular routine back, getting off the couch, getting out of the head, am I going to recover? Why did this happen? Getting out of that spiral and just like, let's just do the next right thing. So that was a big part, I think,
yeah.
of her, she did her nutrition and her water and all of that. And I think the healing's just been fabulous. And anybody can have that at any age.
This is so inspiring and hopeful, because the pain thing, it is a cycle, and that's a whole nother topic of which I've learned along the way, which is you you have to retrain yourself around that pain thing, especially with a surgery, which is always difficult. But the fact that you can heal and that you can heal at your age, our age, is so beneficial to our minds, you know. And I also think about balance and how everything you're doing affects your balance in a positive way, which again leads to that agency and independence. I mean, are you finding that you're not having balancing issues, Joan?
Well, I still have a little bit of balance issues, but I work on that. And plus, all the street, pretty much all the streets here are cobblestone. There is flat sidewalks, but
It's you got to be a Billy Goat to live in San
yeah,
Miguel de
you have
Leon.
to. You really do. And the hills in town, in the central town, are extremely high.
But I think like your balance, and this is also, it's funny because the lens that mom, she turns 80 soon, and the lens that she self-assesses is a pretty tough lens. She hangs around with like me, my husband. We're multiple title holders in fitness, and so she's comparing herself to us. But her balance is fabulous. Like you scrambling up and over and down and across things. I'll see her up on a chair, reaching, getting up into the top cupboards and clambering back down again. I mean, that's my mom. She swings her leg over her bicycle and pedals off, pedal to
I learned
pedal.
that way, so I have never forgotten how
So
to
her
do
balance
that.
is incredible. At the gym, of course, we have her doing more advanced exercises, and they're like a litmus test for you, right? Like, what are your chain movement patterns like? Are you really integrating your core muscles with your sacral lumbar muscles, your back muscles? Like, are you pushing through the tripod foot? Like all of these things are more advanced. And I know in your app, we're doing a lot more balancing programs now for women. There's a lot of interest in that. Of course, we're hearing more and more about preventing falls and preventing breaking your bones when you're older. Uh, and there's so much you can do, and you can have fun with it. You can get together with your girlfriends and challenge each other. Just try to like stand on one leg and time yourself, right? Or we have an exercise, you've probably heard of this, which is the heel toe. Mommy did
Oh,
it yesterday. Have you done that? The heel toe?
right in front of right
Yeah,
in front of each other. Those, yeah, they're tough.
they're tough.
Yes, they are.
But
And if you're not concentrating on what you're supposed to be doing, like in keeping your core tight as you can, you wander. And I've always been a wanderer when I walk,
Oh my gosh.
even when I sit, for crying out loud. Whatever, if I'm watching something, my body's moving with whatever's going on.
oh,
I
that's
cannot sit straight.
Interesting.
It's like I've got to mimic the action that's going on. But that's me. And each person is different, but you, women are tougher than they think.
Yeah.
Like they really are.
Yeah.
And they should make um, that a priority in their life. Just like I can do it. I can do
Start
it. Not
small,
I can't.
get those easy wins in, and then build from there.
we can go back to that message that you had, Joan, when you went from it's too late to I'm gonna try.
And it is. You have to say to yourself, I'm going to at least try and put an honest effort in to that try, not just fluff it off. It's not something you can fluff off. You want to get stronger, you got to put some strength into that.
Being hard on yourself can be bad in one way, because I know, because we never good enough for ourselves. And as Michelle says, you're harder on yourself about balance than anybody else. But the good part about being hard on yourself is that you can get yourself going.
I think, learning to be hard on the right part of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to trying and making mistakes, right? That's not where we want to be hard. That's where we want to learn to be soft, where we want to encourage, right? And give guidance and give support. Try again, you'll get it, right? And then where we need to be hard on ourselves is when we're not showing up for ourselves, when we're being overly critical. That's where we need to say, no, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'm here to grow. I'm here to change.
Wow. So well put. It's just, yeah, same message, but in different words, in new words, in ways that are going to give you the aha. And that's really why we're all here, isn't it? I mean, how did you find that? And oh, speaking of it, I have so many questions. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, but Joan, I mean, you're a celebrity now in a way, and how does it feel to be such a inspiring figure out in the world?
It is humbling. So many people rely on you, and you want to give the right message because it can be done. And it's only people who really don't want a change. They're too set in their ways, or they're more comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's not mine. That's not for me.
I think for mom, it was really it's a curious place to be where she has inspired millions. I've walked on the beach, I've walked in cities with her, and we've literally had people of all ages, younger, older, come up shouting, Joan, you've changed my life, you've changed my mother's life. Yet, with my father, who passed away a couple of years ago, 2 years now today, we all tried with him. My husband was coaching him. I was, trying to help him. Joan was trying to be an inspiration to him. And so, yet with him, there was that stubbornness, the wrong kind of stubbornness, because mom all often says her stubbornness not to quit in our eyes, in front of us, that's what pushed her on when she wanted to throw in the towel, when she was crying, when she felt, it was too much. My dad's stubbornness, and again, people listening, check yourself, right? Check yourself. Who is showing up and making the decisions and calling the shots in your life? Because only you can save yourself, right? Is it the right version of yourself showing up and saying, I'm worth it, and I'm going to be stubborn and dig my heels in no matter what, I'm going to choose me? Or is it the wrong stubborn, like my poor dad, where he was like,
You're not going to
it's
change me.
not worth it. I can't do it. This won't work for me. It's too late. This is all I've got. That stubbornness, that old person stubbornness, like, so and so, that they can't change their ways. They're so stubborn. That stubbornness is
Yeah.
going to bite you in the end.
Joan just said it. You're not going to change me, and that's it's so hard. I have a couple of people in my family that are doing that. One has diabetes. I mean, you can't believe how bad it and just can you walk to the end of the driveway, Can you just anything? But the defensiveness, you cannot break through. Eventually, you sort of give up, you just go, okay, well, I'll do my best for you. You cannot be their savior.
Sometimes a lot of it's tied up into shame, though, right? When people get into we call it protected state. We work with this gal called Michelle Beatty. She's fabulous. She's a neuroscience-based practitioner. And when people get into their protective state, they're in their amygdala, their reptilian brain, their fight flight brain, their sympathetic nervous system, whatever you want to call it, depending on their personality, they could react with anger, they could react with retraction, they could react with like defensiveness, like, well, that's stupid or that's ridiculous, right? They could push you away. But the root is that they're in a place of fear. It comes out in all kinds of awkward ways, right? And if you're trying to help, we can feel like we're getting pushed away. They might even push us to a point where we feel angry, right? Well,
Very.
figure it out yourself. But oftentimes it's that shame. And as we get older, we can get very, very afraid, right, of making a fool of ourselves or failing. Why try? I keep failing. I'm just going to fail again. So that's another thing to kind of think
Yeah.
of too, if you are in that situation with somebody that you love and you care about, just to be aware of that piece, because it might be the way through to actually be able to create space, whether it's that week or in a year, right? Because you can't make a plant grow faster by pulling on it, no matter how much you want to pull. But to create space for them to come out of their shell and go, you know what? Maybe I could try that. And I would say making what it is that you're doing irresistible is the selling card than any science that you could throw at them.
It's true.
Make them go, I want what she's having. Give me two of those.
That's from Harry Met Sally.
Oh.
But that's great. Great advice, Michelle, because yes, that make yourself what they want to do, what they want to be like. And that's what you're doing, Joan. I know, but it's a burden, I bet.
A good burden, I guess, really, when it comes down to it. If I can help people to help themselves, then I've done my job.
It's a responsibility.
Well, I know we don't have a lot of time left, but a couple of things have come up. You've mentioned nutrition and the importance of nutrition. Joan, you mentioned supplements that you hate taking, but you have to take. I'd love to hear just about that nutrition component of what your journey has been like, or Michelle, what your kind of go-to tips and advice is when it comes to how we actually are nourishing our bodies.
We break it down to what you want, what's your ideal weight, and then you work it from there. A pound to a pound and a quarter, is it? Of protein.
A
And-
gram.
A gr-
A gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight is a great place for people to start. And that's protein from all sources, not just animal protein, but the protein that's in your wheat, the protein that's in your peas, the protein that's in your yogurt. Well, that is animal protein, but I know a lot of people don't think of dairy as that. So it's all the protein, all the sources of amino acids that are coming into your food.
And we work on the carbohydrates first, because carbohydrates have some protein in it.
It depends on what kind of diet. Are you a vegetarian, vegan, or carnivore? It's really what it boils down to.
I'm a carnivore, and I'll admit that.
No, she's talking about a carnivore diet, which you definitely do not follow.
Oh,
we were joking. Gabriella jokes about being a carnivore also, because she's always likes to eat
her protein,
not the actual carnivore diet.
I didn't think of anyone thinking that way. Okay.
So we actually teach a balanced approach to meal planning. So there's no such thing as bad food, right? Except for trans fats, right? We want to avoid trans fats in our diet. But other than that, it's really prioritizing longevity when we think of our food choices. So we want to make sure we're ticking off certain boxes. So enough protein, sufficient protein to either maintain your muscle or build muscle. So a gram per pound of target body weight is plenty. Then ticking off the next box, which is getting your fiber in, right? So from natural sources. So 25 grams for most adult women is going to be a great target. And you get those from a variety of produce. Eat the colors of the rainbow when it comes to fruits and vegetables. So some yellows, some oranges, some purples, some reds, some greens. So eating a variety of produce, quality starch sources. So everything from things like sweet potato to sweet potato to whole grains. I love white rice. It's not a whole grain, but I do love white rice. So looking at your quality starches. If I'm training at the gym, we're probably going to want something that digests fast, like white rice, versus something more complex, like garbanzo beans. We want fast energy. And then we're looking at quality fats too. A lot of the quality fats are going to be in your protein sources, right? If you eat animal protein, or even tofu is very high in fat. And then we're also adding things like avocado and walnuts, whole food sources, preferably just because they're going to have fat soluble vitamins in them. And those are really important. Vitamin D, for example, really important to be getting that in, vitamin A. Versus oils, which have it stripped away.
This is all music to my ears. I love to hear balance, whole foods, protein and fiber. And it's, I just think in the wellness world, there's so much, there are so many extremes.
So much noise.
So much noise, so many extremes that we know that when it comes down to it, if you can just prioritize those things, you're going to be doing okay.
Going to be doing okay. Yeah, exactly. And then women need to get out of chronically dieting.
Yes.
We want to start thinking about, I had a wonderful interview with Dr. Amy Bayless, Dr. Amy Lewis Bayless, and she was talking about the 6 metrics that every woman, entering her 40s and beyond should be aware of. And one of them that she really encouraged was getting a BMI test done, right? So probably like a DEXA scan that's looking at your body mass index. And I was like, well, why is that? I'm a big fan of a BMD test, right? Body mass bone density test. And she said, well, because so many women that are light, right, don't understand that entering menopause, being underweight or light, for your height puts you at an increased risk of frailty later on if you aren't aware of how much muscle mass you have and you're not aware of things like your strength, right? So she actually encourages women being on top of that number. And I thought, well, that's a good idea, actually, because I do know that some gals that are on the thinner side of things might be convinced that they're doing okay. And unfortunately, they get to 60, 65. They finally get that DEXA scan, the bone mineral density done, and they find out, oh my God, I've got osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that experience with a few of my friends. And Amanda and I were in California a while back, and we found a place. I think it's becoming more prevalent where you can get a DEXA and BMI scan done for not very much money and get your baseline. The earlier the better. So that's great advice.
I would add that a BMD test is
BMD.
different than the T-score that you're going to get from a body mass index test. So a body mass index can give you a estimate of your bone mineral density, but unfortunately they look at it's an estimate of all of your body mass. Whereas where we see that degeneration happening, it's in areas like the lumbar spine and the hip. And so when it's a BMD test, they actually just kind of hover that device right over your hips, and your legs have to be in a certain position and they hold you in that position. And so that's the score that women in particular want to be looking at: your lumbar spine and your hip. And then of course the cervical spine is another area where we see that osteoporosis or osteopenia. If you catch it early, setting in these areas, that's where we see that degeneration of the bone mass.
And the trouble about DEXA scan is you have to be what, 65?
Well, to get it covered by insurance.
Get it covered.
Well, but if you understand the system, there are things you can do, right? So you can assess your risk, right? So if you're a woman and you can find a relative, man or woman, that have been diagnosed with osteoporosis, that puts you in that, take that to the doctor and say, hey, I want to get this tested. I'd like it to be, like you to write the appropriate code so it's covered by insurance because I'm in this elevated risk category. So you can get it bumped up early and get it covered by insurance if you can show that you're.
Most people don't know that information.
And it's such an important point, like you've been saying all along. It's all about taking ownership and agency over your health.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
like it's a mindset of, you meet a barrier in the system and it's like, how can I work around this to get what I need, because nobody else is looking out for me. And I know the mindset of a lot of women is like, oh, well, they say that I don't need it until 65, so I must not need it until 65. That's what the doctors are saying. They're the experts. but you have to break out of that mindset and say, no, I am looking out for me. I'm going to get it. I know what I need to do to make sure that I'm on top of my health. So it's such good advice, Michelle. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
And that's what we're doing here at Movement Living. And that's why we're so happy to have you, because your podcast is wonderful. Stronger by Design. I wanted to say that because you've got such a variety of guests, and there's so much amazing science and information out here now. We want to make sure that people can find it. And, that message, it's on you. It's on you. Please listen, care about yourself enough. So that's why we're so passionate, but we appreciate your words and your example, Joan, your inspiration. It's just been amazing to talk to you. Thank you for coming on and doing this.
And it's a great segue to where's the best place for people to find you both? Where should we direct people to follow along, to get connected to your app, your resources? You guys both have so many resources available. So what's the best?
Yeah, we've got the Train with Joan.
Fitness app, right?
Yeah, fitness app.
Mom's in there almost every day answering comments and encouraging people. So that's a great spot.
And YouTube and just plain Google.
Train with Joan.
Just put my name in, Joan MacDonald, and it'll come up.
Okay. And then we have one-on-one coaching at the Wonder Woman. So our website's thewonderwoman.com. And we've got an exciting new offer for 2026. So we're going to be opening things up to a more foundations tier. So really getting people started strong with foundations. And then, of course, our athletes tier. And you'll see our gals doing powerlifting competitions and getting on stage. And this is gals in their like 60s and 70s. So a lot of, as well as younger, right? And then on Instagram as well. So we have YouTube and Instagram, and I'm Michelle MacDonald Official. I'm the founder of the company, and you can see my information on Instagram and YouTube as well. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having us on the show.
Amazing.
Thank you,
your
guys.
energy and your out. Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck to you guys. I hope your message gets out there.
Yes.
You will. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye now.